Hey, Dream Chasers, this is Aimee J, your personal hype man and friend, here today on this February 8th, guys, to remind you how awesome you are. That's right. You are awesome. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are important. All of the things. All of the things. But sometimes it can get hard to remember that. So I wanted to share that with you today, as we do on this podcast every week on a Monday, kicking it off to start the week off right. And if you're on the YouTube channel, guys, I got a new overlay. I showed it last week. Forgot to mention it. Shout outs to Alicio from Let's Get Live crew for helping and hooking me up with it. I love it. It's fantastic. And also, check out the sweatshirt I'm wearing on YouTube. Links are in the description. It's from my friend Stephen Hart and his Trailblazers merch. The link is there. You too can get a Faith Over Fear sweatshirt. And I love orange, so I wanted to wear it. And yeah, I know it's a risky move wearing orange, but it's nice. It's nice. So I definitely recommend that you get that. Check it out. He has other stuffs on there too. Execution Over Excuses, I think, is one, and some others. Link is in the description. Check that out. You'll enjoy it. How you guys doing? February 8th, another day. Who knows what's going on in the world? It's crazy, but we're going by one day at a time. We're still in a pandemic, so wear double masks, 6 feet social distance, physical distance from other people, and check in with one another. It's so important that you check in with one another. I think sometimes we forget that, but it's so important. And so today, I'm going to talk about a topic that seems kind of irrelevant. You're like, what are you talking about, Amy? I always have good intentions. Sometimes it is very easy for us to lose sight of why we are doing this. Intentions is another word for why. Your why is what guides you in what decisions you make. Your why is the reason behind the things you do. And so that's why sometimes when we're working on something and, working on it for days, we're working on it for weeks, we're working on it forever and ever. And then all of a sudden, we're like, how did I get to this point? When did I become this? When did I start changing things? When did, here's an example. If you start working on a project to help others, and somewhere along the lines you decide to start charging people just to get money, right? And then you're halfway through that, you're like, wait a minute. I started to do this. My why was to serve people, and now I'm making them pay. And there's nothing wrong with making them pay. What I'm saying is, check your intention. Was that what you wanted to do all the time, right? So don't lose sight of what the purpose of what you're doing is, right? So if your intention is to make money, then cool, let that be the intention. But if your intention is to help 100 people and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm going to run up and try to help 1,000 people. Okay, but remember, your intention, is it because you want to help 1,000 people, or do you truly want to help people? When originally your goal was, hey, I'm going to give one-on-one help for 100 people. 100 small, I'm just going to make it. And you're helping slowly, you're kind of building yourself up. Then all of a sudden, it's like, well, I'm helping 1,000 people, but I'm not really helping them the way I wanted to help them. Does that make sense? I think sometimes we get so lost in the action of doing things that we forget why we're doing them. Example, I have a podcast. I want to help people with my podcast. But when I lose sight of why I'm doing it, and suddenly I'm just bringing anybody onto the podcast, am I really doing a service to you guys by not bringing in the right people, right? So you got to do that. Like, in all honesty, when we were at 200 episodes for Chasing Dreams, I thought about stopping the podcast because it's very hard to do podcasts on a weekly basis. It can be a lot, especially when you're trying to do other things. And so I had to take a moment and stop and think, hey, do I want to keep doing this podcast the way it is? That's why we, on the Chasing Dreams podcast, are a bi-weekly podcast, because I didn't want to give you guys guests who were not representative of what I wanted to share. And I think I was going to start falling that way by the people I was getting. And so I said, hey, I want to make sure I keep the high quality. Let me scale back, if that makes sense. So that's kind of why I want you guys to check your intentions every once in a while, because sometimes you can keep on going and you're going and going because of tradition. You're going and going because that's the only thing you know. And if you don't take that moment to stop, pause, and look at what you're doing, you may find that you're going to waste a lot of time. You may find that you're in a direction that you didn't want to be in. You may find yourself wondering, how did I get here? And I don't want that for you. That's why I'm saying every now and then, at least once a quarter, twice a year, right? One in the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year, and then you get to the end of the year. It's like the beginning of the year. Just check in with yourself. It doesn't have to be a whole thing, but just say, hey, am I still doing this for the reasons I wanted to do this? That could be about anything, all right? So if you're playing a sport and you start, because you're like, I'm going to really enjoy this, but then you stop enjoying it, but you keep going because that's all you've been doing.
Uh-oh.
Should you still be playing the sport, right? So I hope you guys got that. I hope it made sense. If not, always feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about it. Happy to have that conversation with you anytime as your personal friend and hype man, because I got to remind you, you are awesome. You are loved. You are needed. And most importantly, you are enough just the way you are, as you are. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Got that? So till next time, Dream Chasers, remember, don't stop. Keep chasing.